everybody, it's me, Moody Boo, and I have been tagged in a video, my top 10 crushes, perfuming my top 10 crushes. So I was tagged by the original fragrance reviewer that I'm pretty sure is the original fragrance reviewer, Scentatar. Thanks, Scentatar, for the tag. And also by Joss Jane. Hi, honey. Anyway, thank you for the tags, you guys. And this one took me a while. I have a lot of crushes, but I don't have necessarily celebrity crushes. Except for there's some exceptions like Helen Mirren, Sam Elliott, Keanu Reeves, Adam Driver. I adore them in any form or venue. But most of my other crushes are more characters in a movie or a TV show or something like that. I crush on a very specific personality that celebrity portrayed at that time. So anyway, I'll just get started. And I have many of these perfumes. I've smelled all of them. And I am very familiar with every one of them. But I don't have all of the bottles, so for continuity's sake, I'm just going to show a picture of the perfumes and not worry about dragging out my bottles, and then the next one is a picture, and the next one's a bottle. It's like, yeah, no. My OCD won't allow that to happen. So anyway, let's get started. All right, my first crush is The Rock and Dwayne Johnson. But it was when he played Rob Stone in the movie Central Intelligence. Anyway, I loved Rob Stone. I love The Rock. Dwayne Johnson as Rob Stone in the movie Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart, who I also adore. But Rob Stone, Robbie Weirdick, was so innocent and so joyful and so naive. But yet, you never really are sure. I mean, when he was in high school, he was super naive. But then he got some serious life lessons taught to him, a very cruel, hard, and horrible way. And but it didn't seem to change his core, his values, his true character. It just made him get tough. So he was a lethal, joyful, innocent, naive kind of a character. He had this wonderful t-shirt with a unicorn and rainbows on it. I'll never forget, wearing a fanny pack. And I think it says, the shirt said, be your best, or you know, be you, or something like that. So, and because of that, he was so comfortable in his own skin and his own sexuality and his own morals and who he was as a person. He was so set in stone, no pun intended, sort of, that I wanted to give him something that was very unisex, maybe even on the feminine side. And I wanted something seriously fantasy-based because he would love that. You could tell he was very attracted to, he almost in some regards his personality had stopped in high school. And I picture him being very close with his mother. She would be a big influence in his life because she would be a strong woman because he was so set and so confident in, like I said, in his values, that I kind of thought he'd probably snag some of her perfume and that's what he would wear because he wouldn't care what people thought. I mean, deep down he would, you know, he'd always be a little afraid, but he'd know that he could break him like a twig if he needed to. So I picked, long story, Lolita Lempicka, the original. I've gone through 2 bottles of that, and the whole campaign was very fantasy oriented, very unicorns, fairies, magical kind of a campaign. And the bottle, I still have my empty. I've gone through 2 or 3 bottles of it, and I gave one of my empties away, and I regret that because I would have 3 empties, I think, because I only have 2 now. And they're the most beautiful apple bottle. I just love them. And I can picture him wearing it. And Lolita Lempicka is very unisex. So it's just a licorice, violet, fruity, gourmandy kind of a perfume with some florals in there, so that it's not, I don't get it to be for women at all. I don't even know if it's marketed for women, to be honest with you, because it is, other than the fantasy apple bottle, but that's still really fucking cool. I mean, I don't know why a guy wouldn't think that that apple bottle was super cool. So I could totally picture Rob Stone wearing Lolita Lempicka. Next, the next one. He's very close to being a full-time crush, not just a character crush. Because he's hot. He is hot on a very, very mountainous scale. And that's Mads Mikkelsen in the movie Arctic. Everything he's played in. I mean, I loved him in Doctor Strange. And there was something else that I just saw recently. I can't remember. But anyway, and oh, he was in that music video. I really loved him in that too. He played kind of an asshole. And he played Hannibal Lecter. But I'm a huge Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter fan. So I never watched the show. I just couldn't. I felt like I was cheating on the original Hannibal Lecter somehow, so I never did watch it. I probably will one of these days, but I'm not ready. It's too soon. It's just too soon. So anyway, with him in the movie The Arctic, he is trying to help this woman. I believe it was a plane crash. A plane crash happened, and she's hurt, and he's trying to get them down the mountain in horrible, snowy, icy conditions, so that she doesn't die. And he's extraordinary in this. I mean, you can see the battle. There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. And the battle with him, like, do I leave her and save myself? Can I live with that? Is that something? Is that who I am as a person deep down when the chips have been laid out on the table? Is that who my true character is? Is a jerk that would leave somebody to die there to save themselves? Well, he decided it wasn't. And I'm not going to tell you how it ended, but it was a pretty profound ending. And he was just amazing. He's amazing at anything he does. And he's so hot. Come on now. He's hot. He's hot in any language, any culture, anytime, anywhere. He is hot. So anyway, for the movie The Arctic, or just Arctic, I chose Silver Mountain Water by Creed. Which everybody knows Creed. I don't need to go into it too much, but it is a cool, and Silver Mountain, Icy Mountain, you know, is perfect title for it. It's just this beautiful, citrusy, berry, musky tea kind of a perfume, but the way the notes, and they're so well blended. It's one of my favorite Creeds of all time. And the way they're blended, it truly gives a cool iciness to it, which would be perfect for that hot hunk of stud cake, Mads Mikkelsen. That was really, really, really sexist and really inappropriate. And it's a crush, but I don't want to be disrespectful in it either, because he's probably married. I don't know a lot about any person on this list personally, because like I said, I just crush on the character. He's probably happily married, and I mean no disrespect, but he is hunky beefcake. Come on now, he really is. So anyway, yeah, Mads. And if you haven't seen the movie Arctic, you should check it out. It's fabulous. All right, next. So when I lived in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, I had a boyfriend that was really kind of, he just didn't like to hang out with me much on off times. He was a GI, and he'd rather hang out with the boys than ever hang out with me on downtime. We didn't last very long. But so I just started going by myself to the mall, to the movies. And that's how I discovered the movie The Lost Boys. vampire nut, here I am. And this was so, I was about the same age as the vampires in the movie, Kiefer Sutherland, Billy Wirth, and many others were in that movie. And Jason Patrick and the Coreys, Haim and Feldman. And so, anyway, but it was so my style. I mean, I even dressed like him. I had knee-high leather boots. I'd wear black jeans, and I'd have really cool leather jackets that I get at Goodwill or some secondhand store, and I'd put patches and shit on them to make them my own, maybe sew some fringe on the hair. I just was, and my hair was big and wild, and sometimes I wear a feather earring, it was kind of my punk slash rock, not punk rock, but punk slash rock days. It was kind of an amalgamation of those two. I was going from my high school punk rock days and maturing into my rock and roll phase. So that was kind of the mesh up of the two during that time. I went and saw it like 8 times, all by myself. Yep, no problem. I'd go to the mall and I'd eat a little something. I'd have some dinner beforehand and then go to the movie. And it was my own personal date night for myself. And I was so crazy about this movie. Billy Wirth. Death by Stereo. That man is beautiful. He's so pretty. He had the long rock and roll black hair, and the way he dressed and the way he talked. It was just that sassy rebel kind of an attitude. He gave really good rebel face, And so, yeah. Yep. But Jason Patrick, he was pretty hot too. So, yeah. Anyway, and so I chose by Zoologist Bat. I just got a sample of this the other day, and I really like it. Will I buy a full bottle? I don't know. I got to work with it a little more because Zoologist perfumes are so interesting. They're so artistic. I have yet to find one I want to buy a full bottle of, but I just love sniffing out every single one of them. They are so great at telling a story, not just with the scent, but the artwork on there. I didn't really get how the notes correlated with the picture and the name of the perfumes until I tested them out. That's when you discover, in my opinion, how it links to the artwork and the name. It's sheer genius. I think this whole house, even though I haven't found any I want to buy a full bottle of yet, I think they're incredibly artistic. I'm amazed by them. And I'll keep going through because I want some of that artwork, and I want one of those bottles, and I want one of those perfumes. And I'm not sure if Bat is going to be it, but it may. So Bat is soil tincture and guava and animalic notes and leather and fig, and there's some florals in there. And there's some incense and some green notes and wood notes. And it's such an interesting perfume. Now, this video is going to go crazy long if I talk too much about each one. So that was my pick for Billy Wirth from Lost Boys is Bat. Next. So my next crush is from the movie Practical Magic, and that was Sandra Bullock. When she was blowing on those candles on the hearth, on the fireplace hearth, and lighting them, and looks over towards the camera, I thought my head was going to spin off my neck. I'm here to tell you, she is beautiful, and I love her character in that movie. There's a lot of innocence and wisdom, but a need to do what's right, but at the same time, that was in conflict at one point with the need to protect family. One of my favorite all-time movies. One of my favorites. And it doesn't hurt that it was filmed over at Friday Harbor, over in the San Juan Islands here in my home state, which is an incredibly beautiful place. Oh, I love Friday Harbor. So for her character in Practical Magic, I chose Freak by Untitled. And I chose that one because I wanted something with belladonna in it. Belladonna plays a major part in the movie, so I really wanted something with belladonna in it. And the name Freak, she was treated in the town as a freak because they all knew she was a witch, that she had magical, her and her whole family, all the women in her family had magical capabilities. And so she was treated like a pariah, a real outcast in her town for many, many, many years. And so that's why I chose Freak by Untitled. So it's got incense and datura and belladonna and woody notes. And there's some resin and there's some opium notes in there and some night blooming cereus. It just sounded perfect for her. I do have a bottle of that. It's a beautiful bottle. It's not my favorite perfume, but I really appreciate the composition. And I think it'd be perfect for her because she wouldn't wear anything that would draw people to her. She was okay with having people have a certain amount of distance. She wanted to be part of the community, but she still needed a bit of a barrier so that she could do her magic, work her magic with her family. So that was Sandra Bullock in Practical Magic, Freak Untitled. Next. Ooh, it's really storming out there. Wow. So my next celebrity crush is Emma Thompson in Men in Black International. Something about a silver-haired woman. I mean, I felt the same way about Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada. Helen Mirren a lot of times will have that white. There's something so sexy and dignified about an older woman with white hair. I don't know. It is. It is to me anyway. So anyway, and she was agent. Oh shit! I can't believe I forgot the letter. Anyway, she was the head agent for the American branch, I believe it was. After Zed died, she took over. And anyway, so I just love her in that character. She just has this air about her of power and dignity and empathy and intelligence and wisdom. And no, intelligence and wisdom are not the same thing in my book. So anyway, I chose the perfume Thierry Mugler Alien. Of course. Now I'm not going to go through all the notes. If you don't know what Alien is or what it smells like, climb out of the hole that you dug yourself in because you need to get out and sniff more. Just saying. My next celebrity crush is Kyle MacLachlan in the movie Dune as Paul Atreides or Moody. Oh my God, he was so cute in that movie. Now, it was a very confusing version. The short version was very confusing. If you didn't read the books, you could get lost pretty easy in the movie. But if you watch the long version over and over again, you might kind of get it. But again, it's one of those where you almost have to read the books to really get the whole premise of the sandworms and the spice and the guild and all of that. Anyway, Kyle MacLachlan was the perfect Paul Atreides. And I was thinking about him too because the Dune is being remade again. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. The cast looks amazing. I mean, come on now. Jason Momoa and Zoe Kravitz, I believe, are in it. And Timothy Chalamet, is it? But I haven't really watched him in any movies yet. He's a young guy, but he looks a little like Kyle MacLachlan. But he's no Kyle MacLachlan as Paul Atreides, or Muad'Dib. So if you don't know the premise, he is like a prince. And he goes to this desert planet because that's where this spice, melange, is mined. And it's the only place that it's harvested. And it has so many properties. There's no time for me to explain it all. But so he goes over there and he ends up being kind of, I don't want to give too much away. So anyway, he ends up on this desert planet and ends up fighting with the rebels, the Fremen out in the desert. So I wanted a deserty perfume. I wanted a dry perfume, but something really attractive at the same time. So I chose Andy Towers' L'air du Desert Marocain. That's a beautiful one. I've already gone through a bottle. I had a second bottle and I sold it or traded it years back. I'm not sure why I did that. It's a mystery to me. Sometimes I have no idea what my own mind is doing. Anyway, yep, if you haven't seen the original Dune with Kyle MacLachlan and Jürgen Prochnow and God, I can't remember who played Stilgar. Patrick Stewart was in it. So anyway, you should really check it out before you see the remake. So yeah, next. So my next crush is more of a respect and adoration kind of a crush than anything else, and that's Amy Lee from the band Evanescence. And she is absolutely stunning. Evanescence's albums Fallen and The Open Door, I thought were fabulous, fabulous albums. And she had on The Open Door, she had a song called Lithium that I just thought was amazing. But of course, you know, Fallen was my favorite of the two albums, but I really enjoyed The Open Door. So Lithium, I thought, well, perfect kind of a perfume for her would be RXR's Morphine. So anyway, this is sweet and it's seductive and it's very unisex, and I don't picture Amy Lee wearing, I mean, she's really a good rocker, and I don't picture her. She wears a lot of black usually. And her music and her message in her songs is very either ethereal or gothic, and sometimes in between. So I didn't think she'd wear anything heavy white floral or anything like that. So, which probably total bullshit. She probably loves fracas or something. But anyway, so that's what I chose for Amy Lee in Evanescence. Next. So the next one is John Krasinski in the movie The Quiet Place. Him, I could crush on both of them. Him and his wife, Emily. When she puts that earbud in his ear and they kind of sway back and forth to Neil Young, it's like, that was so romantic. And I love that song. So anyway, and he's, well, I almost gave it away, but anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, you should see it. Where the hell have you been? It's so good. It's so good. I can't wait for the second one to come out. And so for his, I picked 100 Silent Ways by Nishine. And that's the next Nishine that I'm going to buy a full bottle of, is 100 Silent Ways. I love it. Now, it's light, it's sweet, and he's got kids, and he's going to have a new baby. So he wouldn't want anything that projected too far. He'd want something fairly close to the body that would be intimate just for his family, just for those that are very close to him. And it's vanilla, and there's some white florals and some sandalwood and some peach. But it's really well blended. I don't pick out peach. I pick out a sweet fruity note because there are some other citruses in there, and the white florals and the vetiver and a little bit of orris root. It's not too sweet by any means. It does remind me of something else, and I will figure that out eventually. But it's this beautiful, light, sweet, perfect kind of a fragrance a dad would wear around his babies and his kids for a comforting scent, and it sure as hell would have drawn his wife in. Let me tell you, they would have been popping for a fourth or fifth kid, for sure. So anyway, I love this stuff. That will be my next niche. One of them. I'm going to get a few, I think. Yeah. So, all right, next. My next crush is Kelly LeBrock as Lisa in Weird Science. That is one of my favorite movies. That is also from my era. She was so pretty. She was gorgeous in The Woman in Red, too. She was amazing. That was with, I believe, Gene Wilder. And, but she plays these two horny teenage nerds, science nerds, get together, and they don't realize it, but they hook this Barbie doll up to these car batteries and do all this other stuff with their new, really high-tech computer from the 80s, and creates Kelly LeBrock. She comes to life. The doll basically comes to life, except for she is powerful. She has all kind of skills, and she wants to teach them how to be men. It's not very PC in this day and age, if you think about it, really. This older woman that these two teenage boys have made wants to pop their cherries for them so they can get girlfriends and pop their own cherries later. It's kind of insane if you think about the premise, but it was so good. So, and she's so beautiful. So for that one, I picked A Lab on Fire, Sweet Dreams. Because she was every male's sweet dream. It's like Phoebe Cates in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That and Kelly LeBrock as Lisa in Weird Science. Those two were epitomized by young girls and teenage and older teenage girls too, because we were like, that's who I want to look like someday. Sweet Dreams is citrusy, and there's a lot of white florals, but the citrus is the main player for me, and the white florals are blended together so well. And with that citrus layer, it just adds this sweet, refreshing kind of a perfume with some musk and some animalic notes and some amber in there, because I wanted her to have something sweet, something to draw you in, but an underlying layer of naughty, because she could be very naughty in so many ways. Oh my God. Chips, dips, chains, whips. Yes. And if you haven't seen Weird Science, what are you waiting for? Oh my God, it's so good. All right, next. My last one is not from a movie or anything like that, but it's Russell Wilson, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. He is so gorgeous, and he's so talented, and he's so humble, and he is married to one of the most beautiful women on the planet, Kiara. And I have crushed on him and his wife for a very long time. So, and when I say crush, I don't mean any weird, sexual, creepy cougar way. I just mean in a very respectful, loving, high adoration kind of a way. So Kiara in Gaelic means black. So I wanted something very distinguishing, very smooth, but yet would let people know when he entered the room, that's right, a Super Bowl champion quarterback has entered the building. Part the fuck up. Let me and my perfect wife enter, and now you may speak to us. They aren't even like that, but I mean, they're like royalty to me. They're like football royalty. I just adore them. So I chose Killian's Back to Black. Or back to Kiara. Because he'd always be going back to Kiara. Who wouldn't? Jesus Christ, has anybody seen her? And she's talented. And they're like this couple that almost makes my eyes bleed because it's just almost too pretty. It's like looking into the sun for too long when you look at those two. They're just so gorgeous. All right, so that was my top 10 celebrity crushes, perfuming my top 10 celebrity crushes. I don't know if I'm supposed to tag anybody or not. But I don't know who's done it yet or not, but I would love to see the perfumed Vegas. I'd love to see her pics for this. I'd also love to see the Frag Hag. I love watching her, so I'd love to see what her pics are too. And I don't know if guys like doing this as much as the girls, but I'd love to see what Dr. Fragrance has to say about this as well. So that's Perfume Vegas, Frag Hag, and Dr. Fragrance. So all right, that's it for me. And that was a lot of fun. I appreciate the tag all. I'll try to remember to put links below. I'm so bad about that. That's why I try to do lots of shouting out and putting shit at the beginning of the video. Because once I post it, I always forget to put links. I'll try to remember to put Joss Jane and Centaur's links down below. And if I forget, somebody remind me so I can do it. I'm terrible about remembering it. So anyway, I'd love it if you like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon. All right, everybody. Peace.